Welcome back to part 3 of this Ficsmas event unlock playthrough. If you have missed the first 2 videos, then use the card in the top right corner to jump to the playlist, which will start you off at the first video and walk you through them in order. Consider liking if you find this video entertaining and helpful. Let's get into it. So we wrapped up the last episode at the beginning of building a Ficsmas Factory, a factory that was only going to produce Ficsmas event items. But what I failed to show you up to that point was several hours of beefing up my support for my starter factory. So I wanted to show you a few clips of that first and explain what I had done so that we can continue together with the Ficsmas Factory. So I started out by going back to all the miners that were previously built on nodes, and I built foundations under all of them. This mostly meant completely tearing down whatever had been built over near the node and starting completely from scratch. What I wanted was ingots heading to my starter factory, as this is my personal preference. Some nodes were impure nodes, which meant that they only put out 30 ore per minute, which is fine for almost all of the smelters if I recall, as they all pretty much take in 30 ore and spit out 30 ingots. But a couple nodes were normal nodes, and since we now have splitters, it made sense not to waste that ore, but split it off from the normal node, which was putting out 60 ore per minute with a Mark 1 miner, into 2 smelters, which each use 30 ore per minute. See where I'm going with this? I doubled the amount of ingots headed to the factory per normal node. Then, after the smelters, I just used a merger to join the 2 smelters' output belts into a single Mark 1 belt that headed to the factory, carrying the 60 ingots per minute. Each Mark 1 belt can carry 60 items per minute, so I built as many belts as I needed to take all the ingots away from the miners to the starter factory. I've built a plates line, a rods line, a wire line, and soon to be a screws line. There is another more obvious thing that needs to be explained here also. Power is an ever-present problem in the early game. After you unlock biomass, it becomes a little bit easier, but eventually you will find yourself chasing more power. My recommendation at this point is to set up a little area off to the side of your factory somewhere, where you can concentrate on expanding power during the biomass era of your factory here in the early game. Lay down a pad of foundations, and set up a couple of storage containers, one for each of leaves and wood, and feed each into a separate constructor that will turn the leaves or wood into biomass. Then you can combine those outputs into another container that will later feed into another constructor, but just leave it at the storage for now. Then, close by, build 4 biomass burners for now. Try to leave a small space between them to travel between them easily for ease of refueling. Then, every now and then, do a large exploratory run of collecting wood branches from the ground and bushes for leaves and fill those containers with wood and leaves. I personally drop a single item of each in front of each container to confirm which constructor uses which item. Right-click and hold on a stack of leaves or wood, then drag the slider all the way to the left or right to make a stack of a single item. Then drag that single item off the inventory screen and it will be dropped on the ground in front of you. If you are standing too close to the container, it may end up on the container, so check around if you don't see it after dropping the item. Entire stacks can be dropped out of your inventory with this drag and drop feature, so don't rely on the small trash can symbol every time your inventory is full. Expand your factory as needed by scanning for new nodes to utilize, then building miners and smelters, and feeding the resulting ingots to your factory to create your needed items. This will create a good supply of materials for the newer tiers to come. Our next step is to unlock the major player in the biomass age, and that is obstacle clearing. Solid biofuel unlocked in this milestone is the most efficient form of biomass and the only fuel type which can be used in our chainsaw, which we will unlock in combination with solid biofuel. This allows us to turn our less efficient biomass into solid biofuel and automate the process with yet another constructor in our biomass plant. The chainsaw will rapidly speed our collection of leaves and wood as it clears a small area around us during use, and allows us access to previously untouchable trees and bushes. So let's handcraft the resources that we are not yet automating for this and unlock this milestone. Once you have it unlocked, craft a small amount of solid biofuel to run the chainsaw, then go chase trees. Once you have several stacks of wood and leaves, head back to your factory and place them in their respective storage containers to fully automate the production of solid biofuel. Fill all of your burners with solid biofuel, leaving 20 or so in storage or on your person to run the chainsaw with. By now you're probably wondering what happened to the Ficsmas factory that we were claiming to soon be starting. Well, we need to gather a bunch of gifts for the first few things that will need to be unlocked in order to progress in the Ficsmas event tree in the MAM. Let's get about doing that now. We are going to need quite a few gifts from the present drops, so run around and as you pick one up, another will begin to fall. You will find that sometimes the presents end up falling quite a ways from you, so in that case, feel free to simply save and reload, and the game will respawn all the presents around your current location. Sometimes, this can be faster than exploring some of these more dangerous areas farther away from you when you just need presents quickly. We also have more items that need to be made in order to speed up future unlocks, as there are some factory machines that we don't yet have access to, but will need in order to build the last few items for the Ficsmas event. So at this point, I would suggest adding cable to your factory using the wire that was being made before. Ensure you have enough copper to supply a decent amount of wire, otherwise you won't be able to stockpile any wire once you start making cable, and some of the next few milestones begin to need plenty of wire. Over nighttime in-game, I added a line, taking the rods from the nearby storage at the end of the manufacturing line, and bringing them close by to several constructors that would turn them into screws. We are needing some more advanced building tools soon, and these screws would soon be needed for higher tier building. And finally, we have enough of the basics going on in enough quantity that we can get started unlocking some of the basics of the Ficsmas Factory. We are going to go nearby to our starter factory in a large open area and begin to shape out the foundations of a fantastic Ficsmas factory. This factory will need to be around the same size as, for starters, or larger than, our starter factory, so I build it larger right off the bat. I have around 3 limestone nodes being used for concrete at this point, so it doesn't hurt to use up the concrete and keep them working. Now let's set up the MAM which we unlocked. We want to keep it fairly close to the Ficsmas factory, as we will be referring to it many times. You can build more than one though, so don't worry about placement too much for now. Once that's set up, we want to feel like we have made some progress on this Ficsmas event after all the hours of setup it has taken to get here. So if you don't have them on you already, go grab all of those gifts you gathered up, and if you skipped that part, go grab a bunch of them. And let's unlock the first tier in the MAM Ficsmas event tree, which gives us the ability to manufacture tree branches. You will now see in your build menu that we have a new tab labeled Ficsmas. This is where all the specialty decoration buildables will show up. So keep checking back here to make your factory more Ficsmasy as you unlock new items. We now also have access to the giant Ficsmas tree. This is a purely decorative item, but is rather large and can be used as the focal point of a Ficsmas factory if desired. Our goal now is to max out the decorations and lights for this giant tree. I would recommend saving your gifts for making tree branches in the early time here, and not building the giant tree just yet. You will use many tree branches to build the giant tree, and you want to save those branches right now in order to speed up your gift supply shortly. Our next project entails placing down a lineup of constructors to begin automation of our Ficsmas Factory. We need constructors and smelters for the beginning of this factory, so let's build a few in a row. Again, we'll build a few extras in order to leave a little room for expansion and possibly future unlocks. So I'd say build about 6 constructors first. Space the buildings out however you like to build. Rig up power to this new factory and put it to work by loading the gifts you have collected into a constructor that you have set up to build tree branches. You will need 50 tree branches for the next unlock, so you can place 50 gifts into the constructor at first to build the right amount for this next unlock. Candy canes. Let's get them produced. While we wait on that production, which will take about 5 minutes, let's grab some more presents. There should be a few nearby, so let's take 5 and grab as many more as we can get to. The larger presents hold more gifts, so prioritize those if you can. Once the branches are produced, we are going to take them directly to the MAM and unlock the next branch in the tree, which gives us the ability to construct candy canes. The next unlock shows 10 candy canes to unlock the next branch, so let's start automating them right away to continue progress. The constructor uses 15 gifts per minute to produce 5 candy canes per minute, so it's going to take us 2 minutes and 30 gifts to unlock the next branch in the MAM tree. Before we wrap up this part of our project, there is one more thing I would like to show you that will come in handy. now that we have unlocked the MAM and are starting to wait for things to happen a little bit. Go grab a blue power slug from storage if it isn't on your Pioneer, and head back to the MAM, or build another one close to your hub if you desire. Then, we are going to go to the Power Slug tab on the left and select our first unlock in this tree. Activate the unlock, and after 3 seconds, select the rightmost branch in the tree that looks like flames. This will unlock overclocking. We should have all the parts to research this branch, so go ahead and research that node as well. This one will take 5 minutes to research, but it will save us much more time than that in the long run. While you are waiting for that to unlock, head back over to your constructor and grab the 10 candy canes that should now be complete. Now we just wait for the overclocking research, and we will have another Ficsmas tree research node branch to unlock right away. That's it for part 3 of this walkthrough. Hope you learned something, and comment below if you are watching these while trying to complete the event. Next time we will be expanding on the factory and what we can build, so watch for that. Like and subscribe if you think I've earned it, and thanks for watching.